Howdy, Lao Shi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan, or Water Tiger Tai Chi. Point out why I just pointed that out here in a moment. But here again, we're in the Qigong shuffle for our every 3-week addition to our channel. We're actually finishing up the 25 Animal Frolics today. I'll talk more about that in a moment too. So let's see, it's kind of going into the weekends, and Water Tiger is based in the northeastern corner of the United States, so that of course means it's raining today. Not all that's happening today, but anyway, so there's that. Other news, I pointed out Water Tiger Tai Chi because some of the things that have been happening since our last video shoot. One of them was that we were getting spammed big time on our Facebook page. And we finally figured out that what it was somebody was using an algorithm seeking any page that had school in its name. And of course, Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan drew their attention. And we're getting untold amount of links to sites that were promoting live high school sports events. So once I figured, since the math seemed to work, that it was because of school was in the title, we went with our nickname, Water Tiger Tai Chi. So our Facebook page is now Water Tiger Tai Chi instead of Water Tiger School or Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. So there you go. The other thing is we have lost our ability right now to update our website, more or less. The computer that we use is down. None of the others have the same program, the same version of the same program. So we're in the process of rebuilding the website from scratch. That's going to take a while. So just FYI, mentioning that because, on the news and events page, we usually list new programs. And we are leading a program. We're contracted for 3 weeks in December and 3 weeks in January at Connecticut Public Library to audition for their Tai Chi program there. It's been going on for a while. The instructor they've had has retired and leaving the area. So they want to see who's available and see who their patrons like. So we're in the December-January slot for that, just FYI. That's really, for all the people in this particular area who use the YouTube channel and sort of keep up to date with things that we do, that sort of thing. So there you go. There's that. So again, we're doing the Animal Frolics today. It's the last of the Monkey Frolics. So I yanked out the Curious George t-shirt again. This will be the 4th time I've worn this. And there are 5 Monkey Frolics. I don't know when we shot the monkey peeping video back in the early days of the videos, why I chose a different t-shirt, but I wore it for Monkey Walking, which was a Water Tiger for Sachem Facebook Live video in May of 2020. Monkey Picking a Peach back in November, I think it was November 22nd of 22. Monkey offering, what we normally call monkey offering, which is actually monkey presenting the peach to the immortal spirit, was the most recent, and that was June of this year, June 9th. And this will be the 4th time. All 5 videos. So this one, which will be monkey hiding, will all be out there. Monkey walking, monkey peeping, monkey picking a peach, monkey presenting a peach to the great immortal spirit, and monkey hiding. Of course, at the bottom of monkey hiding, if you look down, will be hyperlinks leading you to the other 4. That's the direction that was headed in the fog, I guess you could say. By the way, we might have company today. Part of the day today included a vet emergency, so I want to keep my ear open to what's going on with the girls, so they're able to come down and yell at me if they need me. That would be the feline girls. So anyway, so there you go. As always, with the Animal Frolics, we're going to start with advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. And we do have a 26th frolic, which is normally called basic animal walk, but we take a little bit different approach. It's more compound of an approach than the basic animal walk. You know, its primary purpose originally was just sort of introduce people to that idea of the, you know, the 45 to 45 and the upper body and the breath matching the movement of the whole body, that sort of thing. We've sort of turned up the volume of it, so we always save it for last. And that will be, you know, all things being equal in 6 weeks, because in 3 weeks we'll be back to Tai Chi and Qigong, or Tai Chi. Actually, it will be Tai Chi and Qigong. That's why I just had that Freudian slip. Because the next in the Tai Chi rotation, if we choose what's at the top of the queue, right now what's on our minds is an evolutions video. So we'll be talking about some of the evolutions. We've addressed a lot of them as we've done various aspects of Tai Chi and Qigong over the last 3+ years. But there are some things that are, you know, new-ish or that we haven't addressed directly, that sort of thing. So we're going to point out some of that. And actually, it's going to be 3-tier because there are going to be some physical training notes too. I'm going to mix up my cold and hot vegetables, cold and hot liquids here. So hot tea in the black teacup and cold tea in the yin yang Tai Chi bottle. So I'm gonna crunch my mint, shake things out. We'll get more into the detail of the aspects of the monkey after we finish the warm-up. Remember, our primary purpose or primary reason for using advance and retreat as our warm-up for the Animal Frolics videos is that it really brings the mind into the knees. Because as we're moving the upper body, as we're advancing or as we're retreating, our feet are supposed to be parallel and our knees are supposed to stay pointed the same direction as our toes. And to do that, you have to have that separation between the upper body and the lower body. So you're not twisting. See what I'm doing to my right knee, which, you know, used to be my really bad knee. Now it's just semi-bad. So I can do this a little bit without tweaking it. Boom. And, you know, it's turned in. It's starting to collapse in. That's putting pressure I can feel on the outside, kind of extending pressure on the outside, compression pressure on the inside. And it doesn't really like that very much, even in the short term. But if you keep doing that, that's bad. And the movement of the Animal Frolics tends to take us from facing one 45 to facing another 45. So it's very important to have that separation so the knee stays pointed the same direction as that weighted foot as we turn. So that's why advance and retreat. But primarily as a part of the 9 temple exercises, advance and retreat sort of more general health training, physical aspect wise, works the abdominals, the legs, and ankles. And I was recently reminded how anytime, you know, you're shifting weight and pushing down and pushing, you know, and folding the legs, sitting down in the legs, that sort of thing, you're actually, the work in the legs actually functions as a heart pump. So you're really, you're working your heart muscle as you work the legs that way. But the legs and the ankles, a little bit more esoterically and on the Chinese health side of the equation, and a little bit of mix between West and East. But starting with the East, it activates the Xia Dantian and the Shen Yu. So the Xia Dantian, not the acupuncture point, though it does sort of connect the acupuncture points of the Xia Dantian and the Ming Men. The why did I just go up on Ming Men? It'll come to me. But anyway, and it works the belt channel, in other words. But the actual Dantian, the actual esoteric vessel that sets in the cup of the hips. The Shen Yu is the essence door on the lower back. Gate of life, Ming Men, gate of life. So the organs that are benefited because of the energy activation, because of the because of the squeeze and the internal massage of the way the muscles activate. You get your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, your pancreas, the ascending transverse, and descending colon. So you get a lot of internal sort of organ health within that. And it's sort of interesting to do this combined with monkey, because the basic therapeutic quality of the monkey is dealing with gastrointestinal disorders, but it also has an impact on the spleen and the pancreas, as well as the stomach. So that's where I was going with that. So again, feet maybe shoulder wide if you're a little bit closer together. So sort of the standard shoulder width for Water Tiger School we talk about is just where the drop of the shoulders are. That's where your feet should be, and as close to parallel as possible, making sure the knees are tracking the same direction as the toes. But if you want a little bit of width, it's a little bit more challenging to keep the knees and the toes in alignment. But if you can do that, if you have that flexibility, and by the way, if your knees are pretty healthy, if you're very flexible, a little hip rotation, a little pull on the knees, probably, warning Will Robinson, I do not know you. I do not know your physical makeup. I don't know how your joints are. But generally, if you're a little bit more flexible in the hips and the knees, they can have a little bit of play. But really be careful with that. Know your body, know yourself, be honest. Don't listen to your ego. The ego is the liar. So it's really best if you have that separation. But, maybe you can fudge a little bit. So we're going to turn the torso, right? And the way that I always talk about this, just safety, in case somebody in the audience has never watched one of these videos before, is that I start sort of with the lower band, so sort of around the belt channel. Again, this is the belt channel from the Xia Dantian to the Ming Men, the acupuncture points, not the actual esoteric vessels, but the Xia Dantian acupuncture point. It's the lower field of elixir acupuncture point to the Ming Men, the gate of life acupuncture point. That circle kind of makes up the pathway of the esoteric meridian known as the belt channel. So I'm going to turn that lower abdominal area. And as soon as I start feel, so I'm turning to the left first. This is the left side of this particular space. Once I feel that start to pull my right hip, pulling my right knee, I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to move up and see if I have some sort of mid-spine, mid-torso flexibility that I can turn a little bit more into the left to face that side of the space. And once that starts to pull into the lower band, which starts to pull into the hip, which starts to pull into the knee, I'm going to turn the shoulders, the upper portion of the torso. And then again, you have that link to mid-spine, which then starts to pull the lower spine, which then starts to pull the hip, which then starts to pull the knee. And from the rest of it, I just turn my head on my neck, if I can. Right? I've had folks in the room in the past, not in the studio necessarily, but in public classes that have had Harrington rods more or less from the base of their skull to the base of their spine. And they ain't going to turn in sections like I'm turning. They're not going to be able to, somebody like that's not going to be able to turn their neck the way I am. So what you do is, if you can't turn your neck, or the degree of your neck turn is limited for whatever reason, then you have your eyes in the eye sockets. And then you have your peripheral vision to look that direction. And that's the weight. That's where the leg's going to go, because we start with retreat. I like doing advance and retreat with the arms hanging. And that gives us a secondary focus physically beyond knees and toes. It's a song, Knees and Toes, and I don't know. I don't have kids except for the furry kind. With allowing the arms to just be flaccid, just to embrace gravity. So a lot of people do this, and as they turn that sort of thing, they're like old-fashioned washing machine agitators. Google it. If you have no idea what that is, and all you know is that big empty drum space in a washing machine, right? And they hold their arms stiff. I like to have that idea that as I shift, if I don't do anything else for a while, it's going to take a while for the arms to lose that just natural swing. But anyway, I'm going to again start my turn. I'm going to let that turn start to fill, in this case, my left foot. I'm going to look toward the left, and then I'm going to push off on the left foot to fill the right while still looking to the left. So I'm retreating from the left side of the space. Then with my right foot, right leg, taking the weight and holding it, I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to shift. And then I'm going to turn. I'm going to breathe when I have to. Well, you're going to breathe when you have to. But I might suggest an inhalation on the shift as you are retreating, and exhalation on the turn. An inhale and an exhale. An inhale and an exhale. And notice the shift and the turn are two separate things. I shift and then I turn. I shift and then I turn. Some people will do that and they will turn as they shift. To me, and to a water tiger school perspective, that is not a retreat. That the retreat is looking that direction until you're done and then turning and then retreating and then turning and then retreating. Knees forward, toes forward. Shift, maybe on an inhale, turn. Shift on an inhale, turn. Shift on an inhale, turn. Shift and turn. And the third layer here, shift and turn, besides the physical, besides the knees and the toes and the arms and the breath, is as I am retreating, what in me is advancing? Because there's always going to be advance in retreats, because there's always something forward as something is going backwards. There's always something upwards when things are going downwards, downwards when things are going upwards, etc. So, a short, easy, simple sort of external example of that is my turn, my right shoulder, as I look to the right side of the classroom, is in the retreat. It's turning back. My left shoulder, because I'm turning to look, is in advance. My left leg is compressing. It is retreating. It is taking weight that way. But my right leg is extending, pushing off, moving in that direction. So it could be said to be advancing. Shift and turn. By the way, shift and turn. If either managing, governing the breath, shift and turn, or taking it to that level of finding what's advancing as you're retreating, shift and turn, starts to distract you, shift and turn, or you allow it to start to distract you, shift and turn. From that attention to knees and toes, then back away from considering the breath and just breathe, back away from considering what's advancing as you're retreating, and just focus on that physicality of the importance of the knees and the toes facing the same direction. Shift and turn. Last retreat, I didn't count it all. I just kind of went for a while. So we'll do the same basic thing as advance. It may be shorter, it may be longer. Now, I am turned to face the direction of the empty leg instead of turning facing the direction of the weighted leg. So that's my direction. Still going to push off on the left foot to fill the right, but now I'm going to be looking in the direction I'm shifting instead of looking away. So I'm advancing from the left to the right. Another layer in retreat. Right, I'm going to do one more pair of retreats. Something is expanding. The little symbol on my tea bottle over there. And again, we always look at that and we see it two-dimensional. An actual Tai Chi symbol is three-dimensional and moving in those three dimensions all the time. But something is expanding. Something is the white, the yang, expanding. I am becoming yin to its yang. And I turn, and something's becoming yang over here, and I'm becoming yin. So when I advance, that thing that expanded before is now contracting. It is becoming yin. I am moving into that space that is left behind, and then turning. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. And I may reverse the breath pattern now, and actually, instead of inhale on the shift, exhale on the shift, and inhale on the turn. Exhale and turn. But breathe when you have to. Shift and turn. Still knees and toes the same direction. Shift and turn. Still, if you're having difficulty, shift and turn, managing all these different levels. Shift of mindfulness and turn. Shift and turn. Shed everything except the importance of knees and toes facing the same direction. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Maybe an inhale and an exhale. Maybe an inhale and an exhale. Maybe an inhale, something's moving away, I'm filling the space. And something's moving away, I'm filling the space. Arms, just swinging, just hanging out, doing empty sort of lanacane, shot full of lanacane, kind of flaccid, organic, natural hanging, swinging movements. Breathing, whatever your breath pattern. And here, of course, just as we talked about in retreat, might be find out what's retreat, take note of what is retreating as you're advancing. Pushing down and back to get this direction, that now, because of the direction I'm facing, is retreating. This leg is taking the weight, is advancing. This shoulder is retreating. This shoulder is advancing. Turn. That's the simplistic view. Shift and turn. Just about two more pair, I think. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. One more pair. Shift and turn. A last shift. Turn and face the front. Redividing the weight equally between the 2 feet. And there you go. Advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. Also, it has other names. Moving forward and moving backward. Retreat and advance. So they can come in different orders, that sort of thing. Everybody's different. And there are all sorts of different animal frolics out there. Our 5 animals: crane, monkey, tiger, bear, and deer. Other people have different animals. The primary way that we approach this particular frolic, one, in teaching, it's mobile. We walk as we frolic, but as we do these teaching symposiums or deep drills in the studio, when we're reintroducing animals again after we've been away from them for a while, we do it in a linear fashion. Because this, our particular lineage's approach embraces one that is a circle walk. And we walk a circle. And it's very hard to learn something. It's easy if you're right behind the instructor as you're walking the circle. If you're in front of the instructor in the circle, that makes it a little tough. So we do a line and walk that way. But there are a lot of frolics, and we have a plan at this point to introduce aspects of our approach to the animal frolics, but in a more stationary position by taking a step and then retreating it and taking a step and then retreating it and that sort of thing. So again, but that's actually the way some people's approach to the frolics is designed in their particular lineage. So the monkey frolics, I mentioned gastrointestinal disorders, supports the health of the spleen, pancreas, and stomach, has been shown, and it's one of my favorite things that it goes both directions. It's sort of like Tai Chi. One of the health benefits has been recorded as if you have high blood pressure, it will help you lower your blood pressure. But if you have low blood pressure, it will help you bring your blood pressure more up to normal. So both bidirectional, if you will. Sort of the same with the monkey frolics, that it can stimulate appetite in somebody who needs their appetite stimulated, while it can also tamp down the appetite stimulation in people who need it reversed. It also helps to strengthen the shoulders and the spine, and can its way of really working the eyes can help with various vision issues. It just draws energy into the eyes. And that's sort of it, the invigoration of the entire system. tends to help with that unique use of the eye movement, is what I'm trying to say here. Don't like using the T word. So the therapeutic qualities aren't something that you really have to keep in mind as you do the frolic. Other things, yes. The nature of the monkey is expressed through constant activity. Now, like any of our other frolics that we do at Water Tiger School, there are pauses. An inhale, then becomes an exhale. An inhale pauses with the movement and then becomes an exhale. So there are stops in both movement and breath. I like the constant activity idea in the nature of the monkey to be within a sense of almost movement when you're still. Like even as you're holding, it's almost the image that we use, we talk more about it this in monkey walking, is that idea of the monkey is swinging maybe from tree to tree. And that pause in the movement is when they are soaring, when you are soaring from one vine to the next vine. So it's just like sort of hanging in air, and then you get the next vine and you go to the next. So anyway, that's sort of the way we look at that. And the constant activity of the mind, because the spirit of the monkey is flexible and playful. And playful is sort of a pseudonym in this case for cleverness, while also maintaining a certain inner strength, which is an intelligence. So flexible and playful, cleverness, while also maintaining a certain inner strength, intelligence, through constant activity as well. The movement is focused on the upper body. Another warning, Will Robinson, something else you can Google. And I use that often enough when I'm in front of the camera and we're doing these shoots that you probably know who Will Robinson is and who is saying danger, danger, Will Robinson. But as I move, I'm going to compress the neck and extend the shoulders. Be very, very careful here. Here is the caveat. Is there a tendency, because we're human, to overdo that, to make that happen? So I really drive the head down and really, compress the spine of the neck, and I really force the shoulders up. First time I was introduced to the Monkey Frolics, the next day I couldn't turn my head because that's exactly what I was doing. So you're feeling that compression and that extension, and sort of the two are meeting each other. I would say, personal pronoun important here, would say you're sort of meeting the two halfway. But find what works for you, your physicality, your amount of tension, your amount of flexibility, your body dynamic, and find what's right for you. But you are compressing the neck and extending the shoulders as you move. In comparison to the crane, right? The crane is known for opening up. The monkey is known for sort of closing in. The inhalation and the exhalation is both through the mouth. Neither is too forced, but the inhalation in through the mouth does take a little bit more focus and a little bit more effort because it's through the teeth. And it's the ever popular sound of the wind out. And you maybe can see, as I do that, it's sort of a monkey face, which Water Tiger sort of adds to with the exhalation. Put just a little bit of ooh, ooh to it. I mean, I don't really make the sound, but I have that sense in the lips, in the mouth, in the exhalation and the sound of the wind that's almost moving in that, ook way that you might think of as a sound that a monkey makes. The visualization for the Qi is simple in this instance. It's one of the easiest in all 5 of the animals. And that's in the Xia Dantian, again, not the acupuncture point, the actual esoteric vessel that's the sphere that sits in the cup of the hips. and the hands. The monkey has some different hand positions, and it's 5 different frolics. I think it varies almost probably more than any of the other 4 animals. But for this, we refer to it as sort of a soft tuck of the thumb. So it's sort of a snake head's, but you know, most people make a snake head and they bring their thumb to their middle fingers. This is sort of forming a U in the thumb and the index finger. The other fingers are lightly pressed together. And that's the hand position for monkey hiding. It's the same sort of hand position we used back in monkey peeping. And for that matter, monkey picking. But the positioning is much, much different. We'll get to that in a moment. So there you go. Again, yeah, the basic therapeutic quality is improving the functionality of the spleen, pancreas, stomach, helping with gastrointestinal disorders, etc. The nature of the monkey is that idea of constant activity. The spirit of the monkey is flexible and clever, and with a certain underlying intelligence. The movement centered in the shoulders and the chest and the neck, that compression, that extension. The qi is in the Shia Da Tia. First I need a drink, now I'm going to sneeze. Oh, it went away. And the breath is in and out through the mouth, in through the teeth. Not teeth on lips, but lips open, and then pursed lips with that sort of little flavor of being the monkey. I've mentioned the walk, the basic animal walk, not the actual frolic, but the pattern is very similar to other things that we've done. The initial on the inhalation is stepping to the 45. And by the way, if you can't do the 45, 45, then, you know, maybe you're like 30-degree angle, 30-degree angle. Maybe you're wider than the 45. That would be weird. But if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. But 45 to 45. And then you set the heel down and you come in. And then you turn to the 45. Ball of the foot only, no weight really forward. Crown point of the head, base of the pelvic ball, ball of the weighted leg. And set the heel down. Bring the back leg in. And it's an inhalation, hold, set the heel down, and exhalation, and in. It's an inhalation and hold. Set the heel down, it's an exhalation and hold. It's an inhalation and hold. Now I'm adding the shoulders and the neck. Set the heel down. It's an exhalation. Notice neck and shoulders and chest and back all relax. And then it's an inhalation and hold. It's an exhalation and forward. And here's a preview. If you haven't seen this before, if you have seen no other of our Animal Frolic videos, I'm going to turn in the direction I'm walking. My hands are going to quit doing whatever it was they were doing before. They're going to turn palm up. So I'm turning into the pathway I was walking, which is in this case linear. Palms down, fingertip to fingertip. I'm going to let myself sink down a little bit lower. So then I can lengthen again, and that lengthening pulls the hands in over the acupuncture point for the Xia Dantian, the lower field of elixir. To see that in full, if I started with a step to the left, normally that's what we do. We finish with that step and come in to the right, and then I turn in the direction I've been walking, palms up, palms down, fingertip to fingertip, down the front center line of the body, and a little rebound brings the hands into the belly. And that's the closing for the animal walk, for the animal frolics, for our version of the animal frolics. If you're walking a circle, then wherever you are in the circle, that's the direction you're going to close. You're doing 45 to 45 based on the circle. So then I'd turn into whatever part of the border of the circle in which I would be frolicking. So there you go. The upper body, much like monkey peeping, which is sort of that look in the distance, you might remember, if you've been following this sequence. It's really the same thing, but I'm going to twist Neutral is just down at the sides. As I inhale, extending that leg, I'm going to twist the torso and look over that shoulder on that side. My hand is still going to stay fingertips and thumb tip pointing the same direction as my nose. As I look back over that shoulder, more or less turning my eyeballs in their sockets and using my peripheral my vision to look over that shoulder. Wow, I must be tired this afternoon. And to think I wanted to shoot this earlier today, maybe that would have been better, I don't know. Now note where the other hand is. It's going behind my back, you know, relatively for me because I have the flexibility to do this, close to the spine, but you may be over your hip. You know, I don't want to have that arm forced against the side. But as I'm looking back over, that arm is behind. Then I set the heel down and I move in. And ideally, the three limbs, the foot, the hand that's going back, and the hand that's going up, all with the inhalation, finish at the same time. Hold. Set the heel down. Exhale, filling the right leg, hands going down to the side, and exhale. All should be timed out, ideally, to end at the same time. And that, my friends, is monkey hiding. I've spoken several times. I haven't always followed the pattern as we did the animal frolics, but to remember the order, you might want to tell yourself a little story. Some of the animal frolics and their official order, I think for the monkey, we have pretty much shot and uploaded them in order. We haven't done that with all of the animals because it's like we choose what animal we're going to do. And then it's like kind of up to me. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do, you know, crane walking on one leg today. Let's do crane landing. And so that's what we end up shooting. Whatever reason for the monkey frolics, I think we've done them in order. I had that note when we were preparing for this, but it's like other things as we're shooting this, it has escaped. But, you know, the monkey's out walking one day, actually swinging vine to vine. Starts to feel a little peckish. So for monkey walking, we go to monkey peeping, looking in the distance, looking for that perfect fruit tree. Then we have monkey picking a peach, where that's actually this movement that I did earlier, where the monkey is looking inside the top of that tree, looking for absolutely the best peach. Then the monkey presents the peach to the great immortal spirit. And part of the aspect and part of our approach to that is presenting the peach and then sort of pulling it away from the great immortal spirit. So now we're at monkey hiding. The monkey is escaping from the great immortal spirit, which the monkey has managed to piss off. So the monkey keeps looking over its shoulder to make sure that the immortal spirit is not too close behind. So start to get in touch with your inner monkey. As always, you know, as we talk about the animals, you know, go watch a documentary on monkeys. So you get a sense. Doing the crane, big water birds, long legs, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be a crane. Bear, watch a documentary on bears, etc. Deer gets a little iffy because, you know, the nature and the spirit of the deer don't quite match our Western idea of the deer. If for no other reason, the nature of the deer is about alertness and calmness, alert and calm, as opposed to the timidity that we normally think about in deer here in the West, and probably other parts of the world as well. So anyway, but still, you get an idea of their movement, even if you might see them as being a little bit more timid. And of course, tiger. How did I leave out tiger? kind of disappointed the girls haven't come on camera. Luna was around the front earlier, and I don't think she walked into the shot. I think she stayed out of the camera range. She's our youngest. Luna C, sorry, Lunatic, Luna Tunes, but Luna is her real name. Get in touch with your inner monkey. 3, 2, find an exhalation to start. And hold. And set the heel down. And hold. And hold. Set the heel down. And hold. And inhale. And hold. And set the heel down. And hold. And it's sort of a process of releasing the hands into that hanging position. You might have a little echo, a little reverberation of that formal position that's just natural, depending upon how much tension you're holding this afternoon. By the way, keep breathing while I'm talking over this pause. And then find an exhalation so we can go to the next. Inhale and hold. Driving the neck down, collapsing the neck down, compressing it while extending the shoulders up, and exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Set the heel down. Exhale. Inhale and hold. Set the heel down. And inhale and hold. You won't hear my breath for a while. I'm going to be talking. Set the heel down. We're pretty close to the camera, so last step to the right and hold. Set the heel down. And hold. And turn into the direction you've been walking. Palms up, palms down. I'm going to sink down. And then rise back up. So that rise, so that rise, so that rise, so that rising draws the hands to that acupuncture point that's on the center line between the belly button and the pubic bone, but much closer to the pubic bone generally than the belly button. And for us at Water Tiger School, most of the time, it's whichever hand feels like it belongs next to the body is for you at this time in this place doing this thing, the one that belongs there. There's one pass. We're going to do one this direction, maybe part of a circle. I don't promise that. It depends upon how I feel. I might be worn out by the time I get to the other side. So again, see your 45 to 45, kind of duck feet here. And, you know, it can be more shallow. I didn't mention there's not a length of stride. Right? Find something that's comfortable. You know, and I don't have a width. Right? It's not like our Tai Chi where most everything, with some exceptions, is always shoulder wide. I'm just stepping to a comfortable amount for me, and that might change. And it may also change. If you're doing a circle walk, you have to maintain the sense of community. So at times that you're catching up with somebody, maybe I'm in this position and I'm getting really close. I'm about to rear end the person in front of me. So I actually end up taking a step backwards. Maybe the person behind me is catching up to me because I've been walking with very short steps and the person in front of me is getting ahead of me. So I'm in this position and then I take a longer stride just to, again, sort of monitor and govern the distance between me and the people around me in the circle walk. It's not as important when you have the leader here and everybody else in a line behind, except you don't want to pass the leader. That would be the only exception to that particular thing. I'm going to go to the hot tea before I do this pass. I'm sure if oolong tea with honey is a good idea while I'm talking. shake things out, get in touch with your inner monkey. Funny story. Did a public program. I probably have mentioned this in one or more of the other monkeys. And they were in an assisted living facility. The clientele, the class participants of various mental and physical states. And there was one older woman, regardless of what we were going to do that day. And it was basically Animal Frolics based, non-ambulatory. And she would be brought into the space saying, "Monkey, monkey, monkey." That's staying with me. That was a number of years ago. 3, 2, find an exhalation and inhale. And hold. And set the heel down. Coming upright, letting the shoulders drop, the neck re-extend, and raising up in my stance. Inhale, looking back. Are you back there, immortal spirit? And set the heel down. And hold. And inhale, and look, twist, turn, set the heel down. Exhale and release. And inhale, turn, look, worried monkey face, and set the heel down. I hope I have worried monkey face. Sounds like a health issue. And hold. That was a little sloppy there. Inhale. And exhale. Last pair in the last linear walk. Set the heel down. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. Set the heel down. Exhale. Turn to face the line. Palms up. Down. And all the way down. I'm not really going to do an official walk for the circle, just to give you an idea, though. You would be starting with the fingers. Fingers and toes. Those are toes. These are fingers. With the toes facing outside of the circle, the line of the circle. And then you turn to the inside. Right? Looking behind. Boom. And then boom. And the idea would be to keep this on a curved line as you move around the room. And we do that in the studio normally. We're in a newer space. You may have been in, you may have tuned in. I was talking about the fact we moved over the summer. Haven't talked about that in this video yet. And we're doing the animal frolics. We're doing the deer frolics right now in the Qigong class. And we'll probably set the animals out, and we'll probably be more oval because we're in a smaller space these days. But we actually have plush animals, various animals. Some of them are not in our frolics. We have penguins, for instance. Oh, darn it. Just realized we have the monkeys from their bag that's at the studio upstairs in the office. And we're going to plant them around the space before we shot this today. And guess what we forgot? So anyway, we use that to point to like 4 points that make the circle. And the idea is, the tendency for some people then is to do a straight line to the next animal and then do a straight line. So you end up actually doing a square-ish shape as opposed to the circle. So you have to remember that arc. But there you go. The last of the 25 animal frolics, the last of the monkeys, again, all of them, monkey walking, monkey peeping, monkey picking a peach, monkey presenting the peach to the immortal spirit, and monkey hiding. Well, this is monkey hiding. The other 4 links are below me in the information for this particular video, with the usual caveats and warnings and that sort of thing. Another warning, we are We preview all the comments just because the YouTube algorithms don't really pull out spam-ish stuff such as, you know, click here for available singles, that kind of thing. Although we did recently break our cherry. Somebody did throw out a flaming comment, and it was back in the days when we weren't restricting comments as much as we are now. So anyway, that was nice to have that happen, I guess. Facebook page again, not Water Tiger School or Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan anymore, but Water Tiger Tai Chi. We'll post a link there. It's a little bit more open, but sort of the same thing. If you flame us there, it will get deleted and you'll get banned from the page. We can't really do that with YouTube, but there are ways with YouTube to take such comments away. So there you go. Thanks again. Should be, all things being equal, back in 3 weeks with sort of a blended physical training, Tai Chi, Qigong, evolutions kind of theme. But it might be something else. You know, that's 3 weeks away. So who knows? So take care. It's wet out there in many ways if you're in the Atlantic Northeast. The rain, so be careful. And it's a lot of rain this afternoon. But also, you know, pandemic isn't really over, folks. So take care, be safe, and you'll see me. I won't see you next time. Thanks.